All right, my friends. My second favorite activity, is collaborative Google Slides. Collaborative Google Slides. So I have my slides over here. I'm just going to point out a couple of things. What is collaborative Google Slides? So collaborate means that we're going to work on this together. So that's putting everybody on the same Google Slides at the same time. So I have a little screenshot here. When I say collaborative Google Slides, it is giving edit access to the students to your slides. And I want to remind you that collaboration is stress-free. And I'm going to show you that in 1 second. It's not event-free. Stuff can happen and will happen, but you will not lose all your stuff. All right, so you want to make sure that you are either getting your slides set to be anyone can edit. Now, I have mine set to be anyone on the internet can edit, but you might want to leave yours to anyone at your school. Your other option, of course, is to get your roster of students, copy paste their email into the share button and share specifically with just those students. So you can do it generically. Now, the problem with doing it generically like this, anyone on the internet or anyone at my school, is that they'll show up as an anonymous animal. So you won't know who posted something inappropriate, right? So for that reason, you would want to either paste all of their email addresses into the share button, or if you use Google Classroom solves this for you. It is the middle option, the default when you add anything to a Google Classroom assignment. Students can view. So we want to switch those and switch it from view to edit. It's that middle choice. It really should read students can collaborate. They can work together on the same one. Yet, Lauren, there's always going to be students who think they're funny. And the trick is that you're not doing it often enough. I mean, I expect there to be some tomfoolery. So the first times that I do collaborative slides, I do it with the intention of them getting it out of their system. Now, you can go to the share button and shut down edit access, and you can say, okay, guys, digital citizenship lesson, what are our norms? How do we behave together digitally? Now, kids don't learn anything when you ban it from them. Of course, they can work together on a digital document, and it's kind of essential that they do learn to work together on a collaborative document. It's just not a natural skill, right? You're not born knowing how to be polite on a digital document, but I'd say the argument is the same for just lining up at the door. What happens when you tell preschoolers to line up at the door? Going to be exactly like that. They're going to poke each other. They're not going to stand in a straight line. They're going to run and yell up and down the hall. And even when they're seniors in high school and you've been telling them this for 13 years, do they walk quietly to the library? No. But we don't say, well, they can't do it. Well, I tried that and they can't be quiet in line, so we don't go to the library. We revisit the norms. We say what we expect. We call out bad behaviors, and we do it again. And they can, and we should expect that they can. All right, I'm going to go back to presenting my window because I'm probably, like many of you, notorious for forgetting to reshare. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to go ahead and add a slide and put your name in the speaker notes. But first, I'm going to go to the File menu. I'm going to go to version history, and I'm going to name the current version. So before you collaborate with students, before you give them the slides, you name the current version template. This is what makes collaboration risk-free, is version history. So I'm going to be able to roll this back to this version. So if you guys are adding slides, all I have to do is go File, Version History, see the version history. I haven't put it in yet, Erica, on purpose. You can see that I have a version called template. I click on the version called template, and I restore this version, and I put it right back. So the first times that you do collaborative slides with your students, What I want you to do is to just practice collaborating, and your learning objective is just to learn. Like I subbed the first day of preschool one time, and they were going to line up at the door and take a little tour of the school. So we practiced lining up at the door, and then we went back to our seats, and then we lined up at the door, right? Like, this is how we do it. Let's try it. Let's try it again. So if you've never done collaborative slides, let the learning objective be to learn to collaborate so that if they get messed up, you're not having a bad day. Okay, so you can just share the link from any slide. But I'm going to go up to the share button up in the corner. It's going to open up and show the sharing settings. Now, I've already changed my settings to be anyone with the link is an editor. I've already done that. So I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to add this into the chat. Add a slide. Put your name in the speaker notes. Now, if you have a lot of students working on it, you might want to periodically just keep doing the version history, because it actually doesn't catch it. It doesn't record the versions as frequently as you would like. It used to do it more, but I think it's just a matter of it to allow it to run faster and more smoothly. It saves less often. So if you're concerned that you have some kids that may be little stinkers, just getting, like, the kids are adding slides, so I'm just going to file, and I'm going to go to version history. I'm going to name the current version. I'm just going to call it V1 for version 1. So Lauren, I do share it with a specific class. If I'm using Google Classroom, I would add it as students can edit. Oh, students can edit into an assignment. Otherwise, I would just copy and paste. You should have a spreadsheet of your roster easily available all the time, so that you can copy and paste their email addresses into collaborative documents. I really wouldn't share it generically with students usually. If I'm just trying to do quick and dirty, something fast, I might, depending on my circumstances. But since I do use Google Classroom, there's no reason for me to share it anonymously. Okay? It never gets, oh, look at this. I can see you all working. I got your little anonymous animal. Now the question is anyone the chupacabra? Because that's the best one. I don't think so. But I'm looking on the left-hand side. So you want to know what the chupacabra is? Good answer. Go insert image. Go insert image. And we're going to search the web. And you can look for the chupacabra. Chupacabra. Go ahead and add a chupacabra to your slide. There we go. Chupacabra is like the Mexican boogeyman. It is goat sucker. It'll drink the blood of your goats. If you don't clean your room, the chupacabra will come and get you. So, keep your room clean. Okay. So you guys are doing pretty good. I see Terry's got her name down here. Now, you don't have to, but I'm just going to point out you can do formatting down in the speaker notes. I'm just point that out because it's fun. Meredith has figured out that she's the narwhal. Okay, Michelle figured out that she can do formatting. Nice. There we go. Chupacabra, Kimberly, who has some wild hair. I'm not, putting any parallels here. You don't look like the chupacabra, but I like that you picked the hairy one. That's an interesting. Chupacabra, by the way, is like the Yeti. It's a fictional character, so who knows what it looks like. Shame. I was trying to make a joke and it just wasn't coming out good. Like, sometimes just try to be funny and then just comes out to be wrong. Here we go, chupacabras. Okay, so what I want is every student to add a slide and do a prompt. If you can do it on whiteboards, you can do it here in collaborative slides. I'm going to add a slide because I'm going to put my prompt here, and I'd like to change the background. So I'm going to make my background purple, and I'm going to drag it over here. And I'm going to ask a prompt. What would you buy for your classroom if you had $500? Okay, so what I want you to do is come down and click on my slide 12. If you would click on my slide 12, and then you're going to want to use the tiny triangle. Use the tiny triangle right next to the plus icon so you can choose your slide layout to add a slide layout. And tell me, how would you use $500 if you had it for your classroom and put your name in the speaker notes? Okay. So notice that if you click on 12 and then you come to the tiny triangle, it's going to put your slide under. Inevitably, you're going to have people, they just aren't doing it in the right spot. I don't even bother mentioning it. I just come up and I drag and I move them down. If I had layouts, like here, I don't have, these are just the regular 11 layouts that come with Google Slides by default. But sometimes I customize those layouts. They're using the wrong layout. I don't bother saying anything. I just switch the layout. So you see how I can be like, yeah, that's not what I asked you to do. It's just not worth mentioning. So it gives me something to do while you're working as I go and I check. Is everybody in the right section? I move their slides if I need to. I change their layout, things like that. And then while they're working, I like to drag my Bitmoji. I like to put my Bitmoji on people's slides. Don't forget to put your name in the speaker notes. Why isn't this letting me drag it? My Bitmoji seems to be broken. Come on. What? Come on, Bitmoji. Work for me. Be nice, Bitmoji. Be nice. Here it comes. It's thinking about it. It wants to. And drag my Bitmoji. There we go. Okay. Cool, cool. Oh, Lauren knows how to tie-dye the slides. Very nice. A new document camera. Cool. And I'm going to get a Bitmoji on there. Give a little feedback. All right, we're still thinking there. You know, what's nice about using collaborative slides is when you have Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides, you can give feedback in real time, right? That's the promise, is I can give you feedback before you're done. The problem is I got to open up all these students' doc sheets and slides, and it's not really that easy. So the real way to say, I'm going to give you feedback while you're working on it. Now, Catelyn Tucker, to her credit, she'll take all the English students and pull up 40 tabs of English essays and cycle through each tab and give feedback while they're working on it. But how much easier is it if you're just all working together in the same Google Slides? Just be in the same slides. All right. Cool. I will make a question slide. So you notice mine are always this purple or whatever it is that I'm going to put on there. Okay, where would you go for spring break if you had unlimited money? Okay, so if you will come down and click on my purple slide and add a new slide and put your name in the speaker notes. How polite you guys are being. Okay, got my road trip. Oops, what happened? My computer is weirding out today. Okay, now I just asked my second question. So I am going to go to the version history and I'm going to name this version question 2. So I encourage you to frequently keep adding. It's really if they're new to it in particular. If you think something might happen, just keep doing the version history. So I go file, version history, and I name the current version. So if something happens, it's a lot easier to rewind it back. Yeah, it automatically versions. So if I go into the version history, I'll see a whole history. The problem is that those versions are by timestamp, and I don't know what happened at 1:12 p.m. And so when I name the current version, then I know it's when I added the second question. It's when we reviewed something together. When you have something significant that you might roll it back to, that would be helpful to just find the named one. Also, as soon as I notice that someone did something inappropriate, the first thing I'm going to do is name the version. And then I'm going to roll the version back to a previous one to get rid of it. And I want to name the version before I do that because I'm going to have to, after class, go back, review it, and try and figure out who did something naughty. Now, when students delete slides, it's really difficult to tell who deleted it from the version history. But if they just put something inappropriate on someone's slide, you can, in theory, you can trace it down. I had one student put a racial slur on the spreadsheet, and it took me some time to figure out which version showed me when it was added on there and who did it. But I did figure out who put and I turned them into the office. So can't always get it. You just keep having digital citizenship conversations and calling kids out and stand next to who you need to stand next to. Okay. I'm going to go to Bora Bora. All right. And get my Bitmoji on there. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to practice. Hold on. I need Control Alt M. Come here. Where are you? Control Alt M. And Control Enter. We are going to practice the keyboard shortcut. Control Alt M inserts a comment. Control Enter saves the comment. So if you would go to someone's slide, Control Alt M, you have to click on something, and then you can Control Alt M, insert a comment, Control Enter, save the comment. Don't forget to put your name in the speaker notes. Thanks, Michelle. Ooh. Cool. Okay, so notice I've typed my comment, Control Enter, saves it. So I try to use the mouse less. Try to use the mouse less. Now, if you come down to the very bottom, you can toggle to grid view. So do you see it has like a 2x3 box? 2x3 box. And you can see all of the slides. I usually will use the minus sign to zoom out so I can see all of the slides at once and I can see everybody working. You can leave a comment on the slide. So you see I've clicked on slide 20. It says Bora Bora. I can Control Alt M, insert a comment, and it's putting this on the slide. Control Enter. Go back to grid view. Okay. That one's from the Paris. Here we go. I've been to Paris, almost got arrested. They thought I was like trying to cheat the tube. Okay. I gotta find my picture of me in Paris. You won't even believe it. It looks fake. Looking it up. Let's see if I can find it quick. Search. If I type in Paris, what comes up? Here we go. Yep. Okay. I'm gonna turn this off. Can you see my picture of me in Paris? It doesn't look like a real picture, does it? I took this as a selfie in front of the Eiffel Tower, but it kind of looks like a green screen, I think.
It's pretty cool.
I have Kimberly's phone number, so I can text it to her. Poor Kimberly. I texted her in class or church today, too. That's what happens. I get abusive, and I text you all hours of the day and night. Lauren, we are going to come. You invite me, I'm coming. My husband and I, we will come visit you for sure. For sure. We took a cruise to Greece. Well, we went to Greece, and then we took a cruise around Greece, and we were supposed to stop off in Israel, but things aren't always so friendly, and so they decided to do 2 days in Egypt instead of a day in Egypt and a day in Israel. Okay, do you see the numbers on the side of the slide? On the very left, do you see it says 1, 2, 1? That is the comment count. Have you ever noticed that before? The comment count on the side?
Yes.
Okay. And then if you go to the grid view, you also can see the comment count. So those are one of the things that I'm looking for. Is I point that out to students. I say, make sure everybody has, and then I come up with a number, has at least 2 comments. Right? Now, what normally happens when you do grading is you go home and do it by yourself, and you leave comments, and the kids don't read them. This sounds like a terrible system. So what we're going to do instead, that's right, Lauren, don't believe everything you hear on the news. So what we're going to do instead is now you've distracted me. What was I going to say? Right. We're not going to go home and grade by ourselves and leave comments that kids are never going to read. We're going to do feedback together, you guys. Feedback together is much more effective than feedback by myself, right? The person doing the talking is the person doing the learning. So now that you guys have given what you have and you've gone through and given feedback to each other, so now you're seeing lots of people's ideas. You're giving comments and feedback. Now, what's the quality of student comments and feedback? Bad. Bad. The quality is bad. Agreed? Because that's not a life skill. You're not born knowing how to give good critical feedback, and you're not born knowing how to collaborate. Today at church, the pastor had his kid get up and share about his mission trip that he needs to fundraise for, and he said, I'm going to Ecuador. Yeah. When? How much money do you need? What group are you going with, right? It's not a natural skill to know how to do public speaking. And so you have to help kids know how to express themselves and do these things, all right? So this is a great opportunity. I don't just share what's on the slide. What we do is we share what's on the comments. So, all right, so we are going to look at slide 19. How could we say I have been to Paris? How could we say that in a way that's more specific? Okay, everyone click on slide 19. And I like to do this in small groups. So I have a small group that's in charge of redoing the feedback comments. I don't want the whole class all adding a comment to slide 19. But I'll say like, okay, group 1, add a comment that's better. What's wrong with I have been to Paris? How could that be worded better? This is obviously strained as an example, but my husband, he gave one, they had to write a figurative language paragraph, and then the students, they put in a comment, and their comment was, I also like the Raiders. I am glad that you also like the Raiders. However, that doesn't help them be a better writer. What advice could you give them to help them have a better figurative language paragraph? How would it be a stronger paragraph? So let's talk about it as a class. Okay, let's add a new comment. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have students participate on a slide, give each other feedback, and then we go back and review the feedback. And I say, we talk about it. I'm like, who's got a better way we could say this? How could we help them get better? As my husband says, even J.K. Rowling has an editor. You can always get better. So how could you help this person get better? Okay, and have them add a new comment. Repeat, do this again. The trick is whatever you do, do it often. If you're going to do collaborative slides, then do collaborative slides and do collaborative slides like all the time. If it's not part of your regular mix, if it's not part of the culture of your classroom, then you're constantly finding kids thinking they're funny. So like I said, this is my second favorite activity, is why not put everybody on the same Google Slides? My first favorite activity, by the way, is having kids respond in the private comments, because it allows me to have a private conversation with them. That's my first favorite activity. My second favorite activity is we all do work together and we do feedback together. Now, how are you going to turn this in? You could do several things. First, if you're looking at your slide, if you copy the link at the top, Control L highlights the URL at the top. Control L highlights the URL at the top. You can copy that link, and I would tell them to put it into the private comments of Google Classroom. Why don't you go ahead and put the link to your slide in the chat? Put the link to your slide in the chat. They could also take a screenshot, and they can also do file download, download it as a JPEG, and turn in the slide of their work, right? I have students take screenshots of their feedback. They have to give 3 helpful feedback comments. They need to take a screenshot of those and turn them in. And they take a screenshot of their work or turn in the link to their slide. Now that's the abridged version. We could talk a lot more about collaborative slides, I'm sure. But I would like to argue, what assignment can you not do in collaborative slides? Because I think you could do almost all of them for reals. And take advantage of the fact that they can see each other's answers. Just so you know, the internet did not invent cheating. When it was on paper, the kids all copy off of each other. So they can see each other's work. That's always been true. I don't know about at your school, but my kids have a elaborate network of one kid finds where the answer sheet is or someone's work. They take a text picture and text it to the whole school. Okay. So control what you can control. So I don't worry about them all being on the same one. Oh, they're copying each other. At least they're doing something. I can't always get them to do something.
Well, and also ask them questions that aren't fact-based. Like I asked them, what's your favorite memory from kindergarten when I'm doing preschool in human growth and development? And I literally had 2 kids turn in like exactly the same text, you know, and I called both their moms and I'm like, really? They had the exact same memory with the same typos and the same misspellings and the same bad grammar, same memory from when they were in kindergarten? And they're like, copying isn't cheating, Mrs. Lester. They just work together.
That's what honestly, I learned a long time ago, don't bother calling parents if you catch a kid cheating, because it always ends in me doing more work. Well, they need you to stay after school and do tutoring with them and let them retake it and still get full credit. I'm going to handle this in other ways.
No, these 2 kids, they did it like for an entire semester, and I didn't notice because until I was like grading, because I sort everything by their first name. And in order to put it in the grade book, I had to sort it by last name, and all of a sudden their answers were next to each other, like all their work was next to each other.
Now, so then when we're doing it all together in the same Google Slides, it's a lot easier for me to tell they've copied each other because I have 2 slides that are the same. You know, I got to teach them, put your name in the speaker notes. You got to keep reminding them, put your name down there. Yeah. I take screenshots pretty frequently. You know, I have my quick share screenshot Chrome extension. Allows me to take a screenshot, copies it to the clipboard, and it also saves the screenshot to my Google Drive. So I have those in there if I have any issues. But we're going to go over it together. We're going to do feedback together. I'm going to have the kids do the talking. I'm going to use student work to guide our conversations. So either way, I still feel like I'm winning. If they copied each other, at least they're there for the conversation. At least they're there for the discussion. Now, if you're on Zoom, they could turn it off, and there's all kinds of things we can't control. They can turn off the sound. We can't control, but in theory, I'm still getting a better learning experience by us doing the activity together and doing the feedback together. If only 3 kids do it and everyone else copies, and then we have a class discussion around those 3 kids, that's pretty good, you guys. Better than, hey, I don't know, and they hand the paper in to me. All right. I hope that helps you get started. When I say collaborative Google Slides, is that you're going to make a Google Slides, you're going to share it with Edit Access. You can do it from blank, like I did these from basically a blank Google Slides, or you can prepare something in advance and invite them in. Okay, questions? And then you can, Kimberly, you have a question?
Yeah, I put it in the chat. I think you mentioned how to capture the link for only one slide.
Yes, every slide has its own unique URL. So if you're looking at slide 12 and you Control L, it'll highlight the URL.
Okay.
Control C, copy. Unfortunately, you can't do that on an iPad.
All right.
I can turn in a screenshot.
Yeah, I did that, but I got the whole, maybe I didn't do it right. I got the whole slide deck. So.
Yeah, no, it's the whole slide deck. But when you click on it, it opens to that slide.
Ah, I see. Okay, gotcha.
So look here, I'm on slide 19. So I Control L, highlight the URL, Control C, copy. I'm going to paste this in there. Click on that link in the chat. You'll see you will be on slide 19. So that's how I direct students. Like I added that purple slide. I said, hey, click on slide 18 and add the next response.
Gotcha.
I'll copy that link, paste it into the chat so that they can get there faster.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Less work for you, better learning for them is if we do feedback together. But you gotta do it a lot. And this is your activity. This is my activity, and I just do it and do it again and do it again and do it again.